Now, the assembly of the wireless networking kit will depend slightly on what environment that it's being used in. Specifically, how is the unit being powered? In the first example, we're going to go over how are we setting it up in an environment where we're going to have to use the power injector. For example, when we are in a small environment where we just have a Cradlepoint that we have here to the side. So the access point itself will get placed on a table or other convenient location. It doesn't need to go far up in the air. So in this case, we're just going to place it here on the table, on top of the case here. So we've got the access point itself, and then we need to power the device. The Cradlepoint is not going to be capable of providing power directly to the access point, so we need to use the power injector in this specific setup. So we're going to first take the access point and run a Cat5 cable from the access point itself. So on the bottom of the access point is going to be one network connection there. So we'll just take a network cable. In this case, we're using a short one, but depending on where we're placing this, the access point and the power injector don't need to be co-located. They actually can be separated if needed. So we're going to run the one network cable to the access point, to the power injector that says PoE, or the device that we're providing the power to. And then we need to run a network cable from the power injector to where we're getting network from, in this case the Cradlepoint. We're going to take the Cat5 cable and plug it into the LAN port on the power injector. Then the other end of the Cat5 cable will plug into the highest available port number on the switch that we're connecting to. In the case of a Cradlepoint, we're going to plug that into port 4 on the back of here. So we're getting connectivity from the Cradlepoint, which goes into the power injector, and then to the access point. Now the power injector itself needs to be connected to power. So there's the power cable here that we'll undo, plug it into the power injector, and then an available power source. There is a startup period for the access point. It will take a few minutes. The power supply has a light on it that's white that should light up, and then eventually the access point will have a solid blue light once it's finished starting up. You can see now it's flashing, it's going through its startup process, and eventually we'll see a solid blue light, which indicates that it's good to go. Solid blue light, the access point is now available for use. The second example of how to power an access point is when we have an environment where we're using our UniFi switches. And in usual cases, there might be several of these at the location where we have deployed our network. When we're using the UniFi switches, we're actually able to power the access point directly from the switch because it provides power over Ethernet to the device. In this case, all we need to do is take one network cable from the access point itself, plug it into the cable on the bottom of it, and running a Cat5 cable of appropriate length to the nearest switch. The other end of the Cat5 cable will plug into port 23, 22, 21, or 20. You'll see that the PoE lights on the UniFi switch are green, which indicates those have been set up for the type of PoE that this access point desires. So once we've connected the cable to that, the access point will initiate its startup process. You'll see the light is flashing, and once we get a solid blue light, the access point is ready for use. Now we have a solid light and the access point is ready for use.